Good morning. It's still morning. L'chuli Alma, according to all opinions. I got a comment, I believe yesterday, from a guy with a very Haimish sounding name, sounds like a Vishnitzer name, and he said, please stop criticizing Zionism. This is something we have to be united around as Jews. And it might be the person I just talked to, I don't know. But I'll say something, Zionism ruins everything for the Jews. I mean, the first thing I should say is as Jews, we should be united around Torah, around Shabbos, around Kashrus, around Emunah, around the mikveh, around, Jewish stuff, And even if you want to say we should be united about Eretz Yisrael, I can agree with that. What does that mean exactly? We can discuss. We might discuss in different ways. What does it mean to be united about Eretz Yisrael, about the land of Israel? But you want to say that? I hear you. But to say we have to be united around Zionism, this I don't understand. But what prompts me to make this video about how Zionism ruins everything, I had a call from a friend of mine, and he said, he knows someone who's very sincere, would like to convert to Judaism. The question that was asked was, could we arrange like some kind of reform conversion over the internet? And I was like, my answer was, first of all, I'm Orthodox. I have worked in what I guess you could call heteroprax synagogues that still I would identify as Orthodox in doctrine, if not orthoprax in practice. To me, doctrine is really the central issue of Judaism, emunah, faith. That's what's central to Judaism. Bo Habakkuk Mido Alachas, that the prophet Habakkuk came and set all the 613 commandments on one, and that's faith. And that all the 613 commandments are the expressions of our faith. And so if there are differences in doctrinal issues, that uproots the whole Judaism more than practical issues. Practical issues we can discuss. There are halachic discussions. There's very little discussion about faith issues. Now, obviously, even with practice, there are limits. We can't change Shabbos to Wednesday or to Sunday or any other day. We can't, but you want to discuss, does it begin at sundown? Does it begin a little after sundown? Does it end at 42 minutes, 72 minutes? Maybe it ends at 15 minutes after sundown. We could discuss these things. Sure. But it's not Wednesday, it's not Tuesday. That we have to agree on, otherwise it's also an issue of kfirah, but also as to what is the law, and then if someone is weak and they're not ready to practice the law, meaning we accept this is the law. This is what we're supposed to do. Whether we do it or not, nobody's perfect. We all sin. We all do something wrong once in a while. Even the biggest tzaddikim are not perfect. They're not infallible. They sometimes miss the mark. Even if for them, what's a sin is that maybe they didn't pray with the most intensity. Maybe with only 95% intensity instead of 100% intensity. Or that could be of what they are capable of. When I say 100%, not of what and that could be what they have to do tshuva for. But tshuva is part of Judaism for that reason. But heresy uproots everything. Because if you don't believe So then how do you repent if you don't even believe that this is, that's like what I've always said, the difference between the person who eats ham but knows it's a sin and klaps al chet on Yom Kippur and the one who doesn't eat ham because he doesn't like it, but he doesn't think it's a sin to eat ham for a Jew. Which one is worse? The one who eats ham but knows it's wrong, or the one and tries to better himself the most he can and feels bad about it? Or the one who doesn't eat ham just because he doesn't like it, but he believes it's okay to eat ham, that it's okay for a Jew to eat ham. A Jew who believes it's okay, The second one is worse, because the second one is a heretic. He denies the Torah. And the first one recognizes that he's imperfect, and we're all imperfect. We all have things we struggle with. But why do I say Zionism ruins everything? Because this type of question of, could I make a reform? Well, why do you want to make a reform conversion? Well, I want to make a reform conversion for this person because they want to make Aliyah. And even if it's not going to be recognized by the Rabbanut, they'll be recognized by the Tzachnut. Now, the Tzachnut has its rules. What does it recognize as far as... So meaning the religious authorities will not recognize it, but the government secular authorities in Israel will recognize the conversion for the sake of immigration. Even when that... Discussing that, there are rules, it's not whatever it is. There are certain rules about a conversion that's reform. Again, that the rabbinate will not accept, but the secular authorities, I think they call that the absorption ministry, will accept. But again, something done over the internet, reform, meaning someone's a part of a reform congregation for 6 months and then they convert in the reform congregation somewhere in the diaspora, the secular authorities will accept that and the religious authorities won't. The government religious authorities. But something just done over the internet, I don't think the secular authorities won't accept. Just like someone who just converts in one day, even though halakhically, by Orthodox standards, there's nothing wrong with that, and the religious authorities used to recognize that as true. But the secular authorities will not accept that in Israel, but the religious authorities won't either. But my instructions were, call this friend of mine, who, by the way, is a religious Zionist, and I'm not ashamed of that. I don't have a problem being friends with a religious Zionist. I think, and he doesn't have problems being friends with religious anti-Zionists. We recognize that we are united about Torah and Shabbos and all these things, and halacha and emunah, and so we're not unified on politics, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But meaning this whole question wouldn't even be a question if it wasn't Zionism. And then the other thing is, so this rabbi who I suggested to go to, his conversions would not be recognized as legal in Israel. They are expressly illegal, and even though they're 100% in accordance with Jewish law, he could probably go to jail in Israel for performing such a conversion, but he's done dozens, if not hundreds, of such conversions. And my suggestion was he would probably know some way to get it thereby recognized afterwards. But again, this whole thing wouldn't be a question. And the thing is and I said, this is all politics. This isn't halacha. In halacha, conversion is the easiest sugya One of the easiest sugyas, one of the easiest subjects in Jewish law is conversion, because it's one of the few areas in Jewish law that it's 95% verbatim from the Talmud to the Maimonides Code to the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law. There's very little difference between the texts. One example is that Maimonides mentions that the convert must accept the faith, whereas the Shulchan Aruch doesn't mention that explicitly, but it seems obvious that goes without saying. These types of things. So no, unabashedly I say I will not stop criticizing Zionism. I still love religious Zionists. They're my brothers in faith, even if I disagree with them politically. But just they don't, and the thing is that, many religious Zionists aren't ashamed to criticize the great rabbis, even when their own rabbis tell them not to do that. And that's the ironic thing. So the greatest religious Zionist rabbis, or the most extreme religious Zionist rabbis, I would say, probably the greatest post-state religious Zionist rabbi would probably be Rav J.B. Soloveitchik. They asked him they should boycott all the Satmar, hechsherim and stuff. He said, Chas v'sholem. He said, God forbid. Ever since Satmar Rebbe came to America, everyone became more frum, including myself. Everyone became more religious, including myself. That's what Rav Soloveitchik said. He refused to support boycotts of Satmar hechsherim and businesses and stuff. He recognized their chalukei deis, their different opinions. And Meir Kahana, the most extreme religious Zionist, he said Satmar is 100% kosher. The only problems he ever had was within the Torah Karta, not with the Satmar. The Satmar, he said he disagrees, but it's kosher. But the thing is, then you hear Balabatim, you hear lay people who don't talk like that. They'll say stupid, hateful things because they don't listen to their own rabbis. That's why. Because if they listened to their own rabbis, they would know. Elu ve'elu divrei Elokim chayim. There are different opinions, and I mean that in the colloquial sense, not necessarily in the classical halachic sense. Like Satmar Rebbe pointed out, that classically that only applies really to the to Chazal. But at least in the colloquial sense, in the Chaim Potok sense, we can agree to disagree. So, and we got to learn how to do that. We cannot insist. The same thing. I mean, the religious Zionists, the religious anti-Zionists, don't realistically expect to change everyone's mind to accept their view. What they are offended by is when people say this is that Zionists speak in the name of all Jews. They don't. And from a Jewish perspective, we see Jacob divided his children into different camps when he was confronting Esau. And so that teaches us that unity is not necessarily the best way to approach our interactions with the world. It's good that we show that we don't put all our eggs in one basket. Not only physically, but ideologically. It's a positive thing that you have some Jews who have one political view and some Jews have a different political view. And a major reason for that is, like Rabbi Lapin says, although he kind of laments this, but it's in my view, it's more of a positive thing, is that, there are all these conspiracy theories of, world Jewry, and the truth of the matter is there is no such thing. There is no united world Jewry. And really, until Mashiach comes, there never will be. Until we have a Sanhedrin, there never will be. And even whether it's halachically speaking, on so many levels, and that's how it's supposed to be. God, when we're in Golus, that's our modus operandi in exile. And that's how it's supposed to be, and that's fine. That's a lesson that we have, a biblical lesson. So, again, I don't forgive you. You want to be a Zioni, or you want to be a non-Zionist, but you want to be a Zionist. You want to be a non-Zionist who just stays quiet about Zionism. But I'm not going to stay quiet. And the thing is, like I've said, I'm not necessarily anti the state of Israel as a state, as a country like England or France. But the religious feelings I have about the Holy Land have nothing to do with the politics of the state. If anything, I'm defending the Holy Land against the evils of the state, the defilement of the state. Again, in my opinion, you can have your opinion, I can have my opinion. We can still love each other. We can still agree to disagree. That's the thing. I've had two people who I thought were really, really good friends of mine. They won't talk to me anymore because of this. And that's stupid and sad, and it's not Toradic. We're supposed to love each other even if we disagree. The Chazal say, just like people's faces are different, Kashem she'ein parts of vehem shavim kachein deoseim shavim. Just like our faces don't look the same, our opinions are not the same. Our minds are not the same. And so just like, Rabbi Beryl Wine paraphrased that just like you can't be mad at someone because they have a nose that looks different than yours, you can't be mad at someone that they have an opinion different than yours. We have to learn to agree to disagree, to have machlekes l'shem shemayim, and in that way we understand ourselves better as well. When we hear different opinions, and we're open to the different opinions, we can learn. That's what Chazal is all about. Look at every page of Chazal, every page of the Gemara is arguments. I said this once in shul, and they didn't like it when I was the Rav in the shul. I said debate and dispute are sacred in Judaism, because that's how you learn. What they call the Socratic method, it goes well before Socrates. That's how you learn. You argue. You see different sides of things, and you wind up learning yourself better than if you just learn things by rote and get brainwashed. You learn to think for yourself. And it's funny how Jews who claim to be open-minded about everything else in the world, when it comes to Zionism, whether pro-Zionism or anti-Zionism, because I'm willing to listen to what Rav Soloveitchik had to say. I'm willing to listen to what Meir Kahana had to say. I'm willing to listen to what Rabbi Kook had to say. Might not agree with them, but it's no different than, it's a little different because they're Jewish, but I'm interested to hear what did Bishop Fulton Sheen have to say? What did Billy Graham have to say? What did the Dalai Lama have to say? You learn more about yourself sometimes when you hear something different. You don't give up who you are. You get stronger in who you are. That's what means machlokes l'shem shemayim shesoiflus kayim. If you have a machlokes l'shem shemayim, you have an argument for the sake of heaven, it's going to continue. You're going to keep learning and growing. Because there's more and more to learn. And you never give up. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. All the best.